When you think about what makes a company a huge success, what comes to mind? Probably brilliant marketing, right? Or maybe game-changing products. But what if I told you that one of the most powerful, kind of unsung heroes in any business is the department that just buys stuff? Yeah, seriously. So let's dive into the hidden power of procurement.
Okay, so let me ask you a classic business school question. Let's say your company makes $1 million in profit. You want to double it. You want to hit $2 million. What's the first thing that pops in your head? For most people, the answer is obvious. Double your sales. And hey, that makes sense, right? More sales equals more profit. But what if I told you there's a much easier way to get there?
All right, let's just break down the math real quick. Think about what it takes to double your sales. You'd probably have to double your marketing budget, your sales team, your production. I mean, it is a monumental effort. It's a huge lift. But now look at the other side of the coin. By making just a few small, really smart cuts to what your company spends, you can get the exact same result with just a fraction of the effort. We're not talking about just saving a few bucks here and there. This is what you call strategic financial leverage. And look, you don't have to take my word for it. Here's the proof. A tiny, just 1% reduction in your costs can boost a company's core profitability, that's what the finance folks call EBITDA, by a staggering 15 to 20%. Think about that. It is the ultimate profit multiplier. Now, to see just how powerful this concept is, let's watch it play out in a real-world crisis.
All right, Section 1, the Great Shrimp Crisis. This is the story of a restaurant on the absolute brink.
So let's meet our main character, Ocean Delight. It's this super popular seafood spot right in New York City. They're famous for their shrimp scampi, their shrimp tacos, you name it. If it has shrimp, they make it. Shrimp isn't just on the menu, it's a core part of their whole identity. But here's the catch, and it's a big one. They get pretty much all of their shrimp from a single country, India. And as you're about to see, that makes them incredibly vulnerable.
Now, for years, everything was going great. The price of shrimp was super stable, totally predictable. Ocean Delight built their entire menu, their entire budget around this one number, $5 a pound. Simple. That number was the bedrock of their profitability. And then, bam! Overnight, new international trade tariffs hit, and the price just skyrocketed to $7.90 a pound. Do the math. That is a 58% increase, basically in the blink of an eye. All of a sudden, that bedrock foundation of their business, it wasn't just cracked, it was completely shattering.
So let's really look at the damage here. What used to be a totally manageable $6,000 monthly expense for shrimp just ballooned. We're talking almost $9,500 now. That's an extra $3,500 a month just vanishing from their bottom line. Poof, gone. And if you look at that over a full year, that's over $41,000 in pure profit just wiped out. Now, for a local restaurant, a hit like this isn't just, oh, we had a bad year. This is a potential death sentence. They can't just jack up menu prices by 58%, right? Their customers would just walk out the door. So the million-dollar question is, what do they do now?
Okay, next section. It's about buying stuff versus strategy, a tale of two mindsets. Because the manager of Ocean Delight, well, they're at a crossroads. They have to choose between two very different ways of thinking. And that decision is really the heart of this entire story.
So, on one hand, you've got purchasing. Think of this as purely tactical. It's short-term, it's reactive, the main focus is just price and delivery. This is the mindset that says, uh-oh, we're almost out of shrimp, quick, order more. But on the other hand, you have procurement. This is strategic. It's proactive. It's focused on the long game, building partnerships, looking at the total cost, and most importantly, managing risk. This mindset asks a totally different question. It asks, how do we build a resilient, cost-effective, and high-quality supply chain for our shrimp for years to come? See the difference?
All right, let's talk about the procurement playbook, and specifically, wielding the Kraljic Matrix. Because to make this big shift from just buying stuff to actual strategy, our manager needs a tool. And the gold standard, the one everyone in procurement turns to, is something called the Kraljic Matrix. So what is this thing? Honestly, the easiest way to think about it is like a map for everything your company buys. It helps you sort all of your expenses into different buckets based on two really simple things. First, how much does this thing impact your profit? And second, how risky is it to get your hands on it? And once you do that, you can stop sweating the small stuff and pour all of your energy into what can really make or break your business.
Okay, let's actually use this matrix for Ocean Delight. You can see how it works. Take something like napkins. Low impact on profit, low risk to get them. That's a non-critical item.
You just automate the ordering and forget about it. Now, what about electricity? High profit impact because it's a big bill, but low supply risk. That's a leverage item. You can shop around, get the best price. Now, the restaurant's secret sauce, low cost, but what happens if that one supplier who makes it goes out of business? You're in big trouble. That's a bottleneck. You lock down that supply. And then there's the shrimp. High profit impact and high supply risk. This, my friends, is a strategic item. And that is where you need to focus all of your brain power.
Okay, so now I'm putting you in the manager's seat. It's your turn. You're in charge. The Matrix has told you the shrimp is a strategic item. You know you can't just raise menu prices. You know exactly where to focus your attention. So, what do you do next? What's the plan? What are the actual concrete steps you're going to take to save this restaurant?
Well, once you've done the strategic thinking, the analysis leads to a really clear 3-step plan. Step 1, diversify. Stop putting all your eggs in one basket with India. Start building relationships with suppliers from, say, Ecuador or maybe the Gulf Coast. You spread out the risk. Step 2, re-engineer the menu. You know what? Maybe the shrimp tacos get a little less shrimp, but you load them up with a delicious, low-cost mango slaw and a killer salsa. The key here is maintaining the perception of value for the customer. And step 3, innovate with your waste. All those shrimp shells you're throwing out, no way. You use them to create a rich, incredible seafood stock that you can use in other dishes, and now you don't have to buy stock anymore. Boom!
And here's the really cool part. This is about more than just saving the company. By following this plan, you're not just solving an immediate crisis. This is the moment where procurement stops being about defense and starts building a stronger, better brand for the future.
I mean, seriously, think about this for a second. Would you pay an extra $2 for a shrimp dish if you could scan a QR code on the menu and see the exact boat it came from? Today, people really care about that stuff, where their food comes from. What if, as part of that diversification plan, Ocean Delight partnered with a local, sustainable farm? Now they can offer total transparency. Suddenly, this isn't about cost anymore. It's about a story. It's a premium feature that the marketing team couldn't have just invented out of thin air.
And honestly, this is the future of procurement. It transforms from a cost center into an engine for innovation. You're not just buying things anymore, you're co-creating new products with your suppliers. You're using tech like blockchain to give customers real traceability. You're partnering on programs to turn waste into profit, like with those shrimp shells. And you're protecting your brand by making sure everyone in your supply chain meets ethical and environmental standards. You're literally building resilience and brand value from the ground up.
Which brings me to this quote, which I think is just perfect. Procurement is the firewall protecting the brand. And it is so true, right? We live in an age of social media, of constant scrutiny. A single misstep in your supply chain, I don't know, using a supplier with terrible labor practices, that can destroy your brand overnight. Strategic procurement is that department on the front lines acting as a firewall to protect the company's entire reputation. So let's wrap up the story. By making that critical shift from just tactical buying to strategic procurement, the manager of Ocean Delight didn't just survive a crisis, they totally transformed the business. They built a supply chain that was way more resilient, they created new value for their customers, and they protected their brand from any future shocks. The unsung hero really did save the day.
And that brings us right back to you. When you go into work on Monday morning, I want you to ask yourself this question. Look at your budget, whether it's for your whole company, your department, or hey, even your personal finances. What's the one high-risk, high-impact item that they're just not thinking about strategically enough? What is your shrimp?